ensure online safety. The concept of an inclusive and safe ICT ecosystem was one that resonated with me. And I thought it would be useful for us to hear a bit more about that. If you would mind to elaborate on the achievements that you've had underneath that, and also if there are any challenges that you've encountered along the way.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Moderator. I guess it's, again, talofa, and to everyone, you know, for the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, we've been attending conferences all over the world as Pacific leaders and also as Samoan leaders. But it's the first time that we're all here, you know, in our beautiful island, Samoa, you know, and I guess it's an opportunity that it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to welcome everyone. Thank you. With regards to the question, it is very important. It can be an opportunity, but also if you don't have a relevant platform to ensure equality and equal access for everyone, it gets connectivity. You know, hopefully it will be more than the risks. But again, like I said, it's new to assure us that we are still learning it. But having a solid focus and a leadership that set a vision we need to develop us, we can't be left behind in this technological revolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Minister. Indeed, balancing the opportunities and the risks is indeed the question of the moment. We may move to a civil society perspective now before moving up to a regional and global perspective from our other speakers. So Selu, much of your work has focused on the national level and empowering women and girls in ICT, cybersecurity, STEM and technology. From your experience, what is the impact of increasing digital inclusion? And what have been the challenges or dangers that you've encountered in your efforts to empower women in ICT?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Before I continue, I'd like to acknowledge the honorable ministers in our realms today and esteemed leaders, ladies and gentlemen. As mentioned, I am a part of Tonga Women in ICT, and I would like to share today part of our drive for digital inclusion in Tonga. And when we talk about digital inclusion, I'd like to start off with connectivity. It all begins with connectivity. So I come from a small island called Uiha. So you take the big boat from the main island, Tongatapu, go to Hapai, get off that big boat, and get on another small boat that should only cater for 15 people, but there's like 17 or 18 of us on the boat. And then we get on that little boat, and then we sail away to Uiha. So every Christmas I would visit my grandparents in this small island, and my parents from the male island would want to call me and talk to me. So they would call the main phone line in the middle of the island. That's where the connectivity is. So whoever walks past this main phone line and hears the phone ringing, will answer it. Maloi lele, who do you want to speak to? It's like, oh, I want to speak to Selu. So he'll cycle to the other end of the island to call me, to cycle back and answer my parents' call in 10 minutes. Connectivity. Fast forwarding to today, in the same island, Uiha, my cousins with internet have to go to the sand, near the very end of the island, just to get connectivity, just to get access to internet. When we talk a lot about innovation and all that, this plays a main role. So that is one story. The biggest famous story that I had just heard at Digital Transformation panel before coming here is Hunga Tonga Hunga Hapai, where we got disconnected from the world, didn't know that we would be here today, but here we are. We got disconnected. And the funny thing is, when you talk to Tongans on that day, everything is out because we can't Facebook our family. Internet to Tongans, to most Tongans in the rural areas, is Facebook. If they can't connect to Facebook, or there's no internet. That's another thing. During PIFs, Tonga hosted Pacific Island Forums, we had an earthquake. And I'm pretty sure all and so the famous words in our Pacific region is Pacific resilience. We are very resilient people. Up and down with earthquakes, and here we are still training our rural communities, taking boats from island to island. And the biggest thing that we have noticed to embrace technology and change, we have to change mindset of people, not only in this room, but the people in Uiha that have to go to the sands to get some connection. Key talks in main forums would be climate change, early warning systems, artificial intelligence, mental health. The list goes on. Every part of this list has technology in it. With education, there's technology. With climate change, there's technology. You have to be warned. With gender-based violence, there's technology. There's drugs and mental health, there's technology. So what are we doing in civil society for these different embedded areas is awareness. People need to know. We need to know more. We need to understand. I have a son, 4 years old, and every time he puts on his shoes, left goes right and right goes left. And I tell him, your shoes is wrong. And he goes, no, mommy, teacher said it's right. So it doesn't just start with you at home. It's your teachers. It's not just us in the technical field. It's everyone. Technology needs to be embraced, needs to be taught.
Well, male members. Now, why is it so? It's because we are not there. Women are not there in designing AI solutions. Women are not represented in any of these technologies when they are designed. So we need more women in AI, not only to bring about diversity and inclusion, but also because women bring their unique perspectives, they bring their unique insights into the design of the solution. And we need them at each and every stage of the development of technology, at the design stage, at the implementation stage, at the rollout, at every stage we need women. If we are not there, it's going to be really dangerous because these tools, technologies, by default are male, favor male, and they are not gender neutral or gender inclusive. So what do we do? How do we go about doing this? We need women at every stage. We need them, and that starts from classroom to boardroom. That's what I want to say. I mean, right from the school age, I mean, we need more women in AI and STEM fields, which is science, technology, engineering, and maths. And we need those women to design and to learn the STEM skills because the future of work is going to be driven by STEM skills. So it is important that to be ready for the future of work, women and girls need to learn these skills, the STEM skills, very early on. And it is here where policymakers play a very important role. They not only have to have these policies when the apps or technologies are developed and to promote them, but they have to see that there are more girls who take up STEM studies. More women are needed in STEM fields. So how do we encourage that those women don't drop out in schools or in colleges in taking up STEM education? And these women then further need to be supported when they go on to have a STEM startups or enter into the workforce, which is AI-driven or related to STEM fields. So at each and every stage, I would say it should be a life cycle approach which the policymakers should take right from the beginning, from the school stage, college, tertiary education, to the startups, businesses, and workforce to have more women in AI and STEM fields. Thank you very much. I would stop here.
Thank you. That's a very compelling reason to address, I guess, one of my questions I had at the start around whether technological advances will reinforce existing structural inequalities and a good solution to help us start moving through that. We will now move to our most organised panellist of the day, which is Ruri Dempsey, and she's prepared a PowerPoint for us. And this PowerPoint will talk about the role AI and emerging technologies can play in empowerment for women, and also how digital inclusion policies can be adapted to address the unique needs of girls and women.
Thank you so much, Virginia. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to send our warm greetings to the honorable ministers, Madam Regulators, and our participants in this room. I have some of my colleagues here from the Office of the Regulators back there. And it's a great honor for us, the ITU, joining this important forum. And we also thank the gender team from the Commonwealth Secretariat for inviting us and for organizing this important initiative. Move to the next slide, please. Thank you. Oh, yes. Before I start the presentation regarding the topics of this session, I'd like to introduce the International Telecommunication Union, or the ITU. ITU is the UN, United Nations Specialized Agency for the ICTs, and indeed, we've been connecting the world since 1865, and we are the oldest agency of the UN family. And our works is divided by 3 sectors. The first one is the ITU-R, or ITU Radio Communications. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, let me try. Okay. Radio communication, which allocates the global radio spectrum as well as the satellite orbits. And the second one is the ITU-T, or standardization, which develop the international technical standards to ensure the seamless connectivity in the world. Last but not least, we have the ITU-D, or ITU development. The focus on the ITU-D is on bridging the digital divide. We're trying to improve the internet access to the underserved communities. Let me try to move. Sorry. Yeah, apologize for the technical glitch. Headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland, the ITU has a regional presence with regional offices located in some of the continents, and our regional office for Asia and the Pacific, which is located in Bangkok, Thailand, supports the regional initiative that tailor to meet the local needs. And then we also make sure it aligns with our global and strategic framework as to connect the world by 2030. Moving to the next slide. Okay. Yeah, in response to the moderator, the question from the moderator, we are fully aware that there are some opportunities, challenges with regard to the digital inclusion. And but in here, we, the ITU, we would like to also share with us all here the key strategy how to tackle the dangers of the digital inclusion. But let us start first with the opportunities in digital inclusion. We are aware that digital inclusion empowers the marginalized communities. And the very first point that we would like to point it out here is digital inclusion on the opportunities is the connectivity affordability, and also accessibility. We believe that digital inclusion enables access to the services like e-education, e-health, digital financial for girls and for women, especially those who live in rural and remote areas. The second opportunities in digital inclusion that we saw here is the innovation through technology. We are all aware that we are exposed by the advancement of technology that include the artificial intelligence, as my colleagues also mentioned earlier, blockchain, Internet of Things, and many others, can actually improve the productivity and services which benefit every one of us, whether we agree or not. And this technology not only very beneficial for the urban populations, but also those who live in rural areas. The last opportunities that we would like to highlight here is, once again, bridging the digital divide, as it's one of our main mandate. Bridging the digital divide by expanding affordable internet access, once again, to the underserved and coastal communities, to create the opportunities for remote work as well as entrepreneurship for women and girls, especially for mothers, their families, and also their environment. Apart from the opportunities, we're moving to the next slide. Oh, sorry. Still here? Yes. Oh, this is the same. Thank you. We also noted a lot of challenge in digital inclusion that we can avoid. But in here, we have some of points, including exclusion of vulnerable groups. We understand that lack of affordability, especially in internet and digital literacy, widen the gap. And the next point would be accessibility barriers. We somehow also found the digital platform often lack of accessibility for vulnerable group, including women, girls, as well as the person with disabilities. And last but not least is the cybersecurity risk, where we understand vulnerable groups are more exposed by the online threat. So, looking at these dangers or challenge, and as the previous speakers mentioned earlier, we find some of the key strategies or approach to tackle these dangers or negative impact. The first, we would like to propose to have the holistic digital policy by providing the government, supporting the government to create the policies, ensuring inclusivity for all. And then our next approach is to promoting digital literacy by expanding education as well as training focused on women and girls, which is very critical. And the third point on the key strategies or process we would like to point it out here is strengthening the cybersecurity. Establish trust in digital platforms must be established, especially if it's supported by the government and also the private sectors, and to ensure safety for all users. I think that's all, Virginia, from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I want to say a huge thank you to all of the panelists for sharing their expertise and wisdom with us today. My apologies to the members of the audience that we won't have time for questions, unfortunately. I have a whole list of questions that I would have loved to ask, but unfortunately we don't have time today. Your panelists are in front of you, so if you do have some burning questions, please do approach them in the break. I'm sort of volunteering them to spend time with you and hopefully help us all, because it is clear that education is one of the most important elements of being able to take on the opportunities that are in front of us. But as we close, I humbly invite Honourable Minister Onisemu to provide the final reflections on our panel today.
Thank you very much. Digital and technology, communication technology, it's a need that taking us into the future. It's a necessity that we must have, for the future. And hearing from the panel, they have spoken about various areas that we need to improve. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a new invention that we are experiencing in its first 10, 20 years. Speaking about infrastructure, from governments, needs a lot of investments in infrastructure to ensure 100% accessibility to everyone. It needs a lot of commitment from the leaders to ensure this priority will be in the top priority from all governments. As you can see, technology, a few years ago we were in 2G, 3G, now it's 6G. So the technologies continue evolving, and it needs a lot of investment because new technology, new equipment, new tools, even new phones. So there's a lot of investment that needs from all sectors. Also infrastructure in terms of, all across government sectors. For example, computer labs. We don't necessarily use ordinary rooms for computer. Even at the health centers, you need special equipment at health centers. Even climate change and disaster resilience platforms, you need special equipment, data centers. So it's a holistic approach all across government sectors. Also, as I mentioned, that it's a lifetime investment for everyone. Secondly, been talking about digital literacy, education at all levels. It's from the professional level to all the institutions to the user end. It needs a lot of investment in those areas, especially from the technology, the service providers, to ensure that the people are using the devices, meaningful connectivity and proper use of internet. And finally, it needs a global commitment. If you look across, not only, best example, you heard a lot of investment coming to our region, our Pacific. The cable, new cable here, new cable there. Those investments are hoping for the return from the consumers, which is actually our people in our region. So we need to work together with investors in our region to make sure we have a say in those planning regimes to make sure that the future will be looked after. So it needs a global and regional approach, working together with global organizations, investment groups, organizations like CTO, Commonwealth, World Bank, and so forth. Needs a lot of working together, collaboration between and among all stakeholders. And finally, it needs everyone's effort. It is a future for our younger generation. It needs everyone. It is the future, and we need to work to get on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Can we get a round of applause for the panel, please?
I would like you all to give them another round of applause. Here's why. They started after their allocated time and has been the most efficient panel in this entire event. Give a round of applause. That's what you call an efficient Minister of ICT. Thank you so very much. And because of their efficiency, you are now rewarded with a coffee break. Just 15 minutes. So thank you all so very much, and we will see you back here in 15 minutes.
Anu ole mao ua baba o lo upito ie